to be back.
You're listening to the Team High School Show on 101.7 The Team.
And welcome back.
Let's get back to the show with Gary Herron on your flagship station for APS Athletics, ESPN Radio 101.7 The Team.
We start the second quarter, and we're going to go to the football guru. I always call him the football guru, and if you know what a guru is, you know I'm talking about Kyle Henderson from NMPreps.com, a sponsor of the show this season, the school year, the Team High School Show, which gets underway today, and I really appreciate you listening. Well, let's see what Kyle Henderson saw. He was on the sidelines last night for that game that lasted less than a half at Cleveland Stadium. Good morning, Kyle.
Hey, Gary, how you doing today? Thanks for having me on the show.
Oh, you're going to be on every week, buddy. I was on my way. I was telling some of these guys, Fred Marty and Scott Galletti, I had just left Newcenter Community Stadium. I was out of there within 10 minutes of the final gun, and I talked to both Coach Howes and quarterback Stephen Bailey of Rio Rancho, and I'm on Unser, and I'm hearing the Del Norte St. Pius game, and they're giving final scores, and the last one I heard was like 11-0, and all of a sudden it's a final from Cleveland, 53-0. Talk a little bit about what you saw there on the sidelines last night, Kyle.
Well, first of all, I really wanted to give credit to the Cleveland community for reaching out, and they took a moment of silence. They had a knee at the beginning of the play. The players kneeled down at the 25-yard line, and they wanted to honor Jaden Gilbert Chavez, and I thought that was really classy and the right thing to do. After that, Cleveland put it into full throttle, and they weren't being nice anymore. I mean, it was 39-0 before you know it. Gabe Ortega scored with a quick 65-yard touchdown, and Marcus Williams caught a touchdown to end the game 53-0 just before halftime. It was probably the most dominating performance of high school football I've ever seen. And, I think Manzano, they're a young team. I mean, they probably started 6 sophomores last night, but they're going to win some football games. I mean, they're not like a Rio Grande or one of these teams like a Highland that's just terrible. I mean, they're decent. So Cleveland, no doubt about it, the real deal. Cleveland's the number one for a reason.
You had them number one. The Journal had them number one. I'm picking them to run the table. We'll see how that works out. But are they really that good, or was Manzano that bad, or was it a combination?
Well, as I said, I don't think Manzano was a terrible football team. I think they got plenty of speed on that team. Their quarterback, Orlando Perez, when he gets outside, he's fast. But Cleveland's defense only allowed 47 total yards of offense for Manzano, and guys like Rope Henry, guys like Henry Haddis. He played both ways actually last night. I think you're going to see him play both ways throughout the season. But those guys are just so talented on both sides of the football. They're huge. Their receivers are 6'5", 6'4", 6'5", 5'11" with Ryan Anderson, and they're hot. And it'll be exciting to see what they do. But, let's not forget about Rio Rancho. I mean, they won their 14th game in a row last night, beating Valley. Stephen Bailey took over for Easton Barrera, and I thought he did a great job throwing for 240 and a couple touchdowns.
Yeah, he completed his first 7 passes, was never sacked, threw no picks, threw 2 touchdown passes. And I talked to him right after the game. I said, Stephen, a lot of eyes around the state were on you tonight. And he said he did pretty good and he can do better. And I can't argue with that. He has a basically new offensive line. They blocked real well. You can't ask any more for the debut of a guy who is a senior. So he's going to be one and done.
Yeah, Bailey did a great job, as well as Josh Foley. I think he's really a guy that's going to make his mark this year as a junior. And then there's several junior players on the defense that I'm really fond of at Rio Rancho. So I think, Rio Rancho probably not as talented as last year, but still doing work. I mean, 14 in a row, that's impressive, especially at the 6A level. Yeah,
and Friday night they've got a game. They've got El Paso. They got Andres coming in, I think. Andres High School.
No, they take on El Paso Americas.
Americas, that's right. And I've written it down a few times, but see, I've got Cleveland going down to Del Valle, so I got to try to remember which one's which, and I will be covering that game at Rio Rancho. I want to ask you this, Kyle. A lot of times we talk about numbers, the sizes, the weights of everybody. Something that's not really game-related in the final outcome, the winning, losing, the student-athlete portion, more of the student, more of the sportsmanship. And you talked about Cleveland honoring the late Manzano player who was killed tragically in that drive-by shooting, the way Larry Chavez probably orchestrated that. But in the past, and this happened twice in the last basketball season, head coach Brian Smith has given the okay. And, I mean, most coaches would, of course. You can't be too hard-nosed. But when Cleveland played Rio Rancho and the son of Coach Walt Salata had ACL ACL surgery before the season, was unable to play. Wally wanted his son to get in a game as a senior, and they orchestrated it where he would come in, start the game against Cleveland, go in for a layup, and then they'd pull him off the floor, replace him, and he'd get a chance to have played as a senior. And Brian had to go along with that, you know. And, of course, then Wally was going to let Cleveland go in and score, too. And, of course, I said, let Ryan Jones shoot a three-pointer. But and then they did that again at a game at Volcano Vista, whereas a similar situation for Hawks head coach Greg Brown. He had a player who'd missed all the season with an ACL injury, I believe it was, and Brian gave the okay for that. So that kid got into the game, scored, then Cleveland was allowed to score, and so basically instead of starting 0-0, you're starting 2-2. But what do you think of gestures like that? Do you see them anyplace else around the state?
Yeah, certainly. You certainly do. I mean, well, first of all, I think, you know, it goes to show there's more in sports, and these coaches are men of great character, and you want, you know, your kids to be playing for them, and that's how it should be done, because, you know, at the end of the day, it's about life, and it's about teaching these young men how to be great men when they're older, when they're fathers, when they're coaches, and so forth. Last night, for example, Hobbs and Mayfield, at the beginning of the game, each team lined up on the 50-yard line, and they had a moment of silence for the late Jim Bradley Sr., so I think you see it. I think it's great. I want to see more of it. And, you know, it's part of the sports culture, but obviously there's more to life than just, you know, high school sports.
Now, it may be hard to believe, but there may be some listeners, maybe some first-time listeners, maybe some people that have listened in the past but never heard the great Kyle Henderson on the air. Tell people a little bit about NMPreps.com, when that all started, what was the genesis for that, and how it's been going.
Well, NMPreps.com is, you know, your complete source for New Mexico high school sports. Locally owned, just like the team, and, you know, based here in New Mexico, out of Albuquerque, but I travel the state of New Mexico, highlighting the state's top athletes, coaches, and, you know, writing game stories and putting all that information back on NMPreps.com. You know, the website has grown tremendously. For example, last night we hit a record-breaking day in page views. The site for the single day of August 28th, we had 141,000 page views on a single day. Which is just outstanding for the website. You know, I started it from zero now to see where it's at. You know, it is quite humbling, but, you know, I'm still working. I was working this morning at 4:30 in the morning.
Wow.
And, you know, I'm a young entrepreneur who's had a little bit of luck, but I think it's a testament to if you just put your nose down and just work hard. I know it's cliche, but if you work hard, good things are going to happen. And I invite you to check out NMPreps.com. Come over. Grab a membership and, you know, see what all the fuss is about. Is
there a breakdown? So you know there's 141,000 page views, but does it tell you how many different visitors you had?
You know, it's kind of it's sporadic. I mean, because we put up so many content items, and what a content item is a content item is a story. So yesterday, I think a lot of people were really excited to see our top 25 preview, and what that is the preview that compiles the top 25 teams in New Mexico to re-rank, who they're playing, the players to watch, and, you know, that story in the morning, I put it out at 6 in the morning, and by I think 10:30, it had 40,000 page views alone. So, you know, combine that, and then with the high school football scores that we provide on our website, it's really cool. I'm pretty humbled, like I said, and, you know, going to keep at it and keep going forward, and, you know, really excited to be a part of the team this year. And, you know, being a sponsor of the high school sports show. Yeah,
I didn't want people to think your wife was logging on at like 5 in the morning and going to the site 141,000 times. Hey, I mean, you've done a great job, and there's no secret code. It's NMPreps.com, just like we've been calling it all along. So check that out when you have time, when you're on the internet, NMPreps.com. Kyle, what other games did you go to this week? I know you can't just go to one game and call it a week.
Well, you know what? I started Wednesday night with the game between Sandia and Volcano Vista, and my goodness, Volcano Vista came out guns blazing. Josh Williams, our quarterback, did a fantastic job. I mean, throwing for over 250 yards and 2 touchdowns. I thought his wide receiver, David Cromer, really stepped up and impressed. He's only a junior, probably 6'4", and 200 pounds. He had a great showing as well. But to hold Sandia to only 3 points, I thought that was incredible. And then Thursday night, I checked out El Dorado, and, you know, no Zach Gentry, no problem. Of course, it was against Rio Grande, a team that continues to circulate head coaches yearly, but they got plenty of talent at El Dorado, and Coach Dotson is a coach that I'm really fond of. I really enjoy his coaching style and just his philosophy on life in general. I think he's a great coach. So I checked out that game Thursday, and then last night I caught the tail end of Hobbs and Mayfield, which I thought was fantastic. I mean, Mayfield was up 34-14 at halftime. Hobbs rallies back. There's a ton of lightning delays. Long story short, Mayfield scored with 20 seconds left. Running back Isaac Vance ran for 330 yards and 4 touchdowns. He's just a junior. Mayfield wins a thriller on the road. Big week one.
Wow. And is it family day today, or are you going to go to a game or two in the area?
This is my schedule. So I woke up, I worked, I took Caden to karate. He's my 6-year-old son. I have karate cleanup today. And then after that, I'm going to, Cibola and Albuquerque later on tonight, and then I might join some friends and family at Santiago later tonight.
Karate cleanup? Do you have to wear the gloves and mop up the blood, or what?
Yes, I don't know. Yeah, it's like, parents, please come to karate cleanup. So.
All right. Whose DNA is this? Hey, okay. What's the top games? If we got some listeners thinking, geez, what games should we go see next week? Any big games? And of course, here on the team, it's Clovis at Cibola Friday night at 7. But what are NM Preps going to be focusing on this week?
Well, I'll give you the quick skinny on Clovis and Cibola. Last night, Clovis beat the Goddard Rockets 37-14. Junior running back Micah Gray ran for over 140 yards and 3 touchdowns. Clovis returned 6 on offense, but no defensive starters. However, they held Cibola at 14 points. Cibola, they play today against Albuquerque. That's an interesting game. You know, Rod Williams, he lost a lot to graduation, so I'll be interested to see how that game turns out against Albuquerque today. Next week, what's on tap? I think a storyline that everybody's going to be talking about is Hobbs taking on Artesia. That game will be at the Bulldog Bowl. Anytime you get those two together in the Bulldog Bowl, it's pretty fun.
Oh, yeah.
As you mentioned, number 1 ranked Cleveland heads to El Paso to take on El Paso de Valle. De Valle stomped on Gadsden last night, and they actually beat Cleveland last year 27-7 here in Rio Rancho. So I think that's going to be a storyline. And then, as you mentioned, Rio Rancho takes on El Paso Americas, and then there's a sprinkle in a couple other games like La Cueva, who had a big win over Atrisco. They take on Las Cruces, who lost last night to El Paso Montwood.
Yeah, well, don't look for Del Valle to beat Cleveland this year. Their great quarterback of last year graduated, and Cleveland's great quarterback is back for his senior year. So that's my prediction there. Cleveland doesn't have any problem. Hey, Kyle, thanks for joining us. NMPreps.com, a sponsor of the Team High School Show. Your knowledge is certainly appreciated, not only by me but fans everywhere. Thanks for all you do. Have a great weekend. What's left, and good luck on the karate cleanup.
Hey, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right, we've reached halftime. That's Kyle Henderson.